We'll start on 2 lines from the bottom on page Mem Dalet. The important principle that we learned, hopefully we sense the point of it. In an attempt to explain how is it that there are spheres and the spheres have a pshitus. How can these two be said in the same breath, so to speak? So, for this, the Rebbe explains that the whole phenomena that is spheres is not that there is spheres as an added quality in Ein Sof, in Ein Sof. Rather, in the Ein Sof there is its own gilui. Within the Ein Sof there is an union of gilui b'atzmusei. Gilui brings about spheres. So the spheres are there not because there are spheres, but because there is union of gilui. And therefore, just as the gilui itself is, as you said, Dovik bein Sof, Miyuchad bein Sof, and it's b'pshitus. So everything that's within this gilui is also b'pshitus. In a gilui, the hechlech says hechlech she'is spheres. That's the first half of that line. V'yesh beis efane behagilui. In this gilui there are two modes, two manners, which we already started trying to go through before. V'hakol be'atzmus, but one thing you have to insert. You must not lose sight of the fact that all of the inner gilui is not talking about gilui externally. Gilui internal to the etzem. We have to, when we say be'atzim, the etzem, we have to reflect to the extent possible. Each one in his own mind, because to explain this is not possible, but each one is granted seichel by a godly gift. What is the concept of etzem?
Rabbi Paltiel?
Yes, sir.
I just want to clarify, because I'm getting confused by this.
Me too.
You're talking about, I doubt it. You're talking about Gilui b'atzmusei and etzem, using the term etzem here. But all of it we're discussing is in Iyar Ein Sof Achar Tzimtzum, not in Atzmus Lifnei Tzimtzum.
No. Here we're talking about Lifnei HaTzimtzum.
Here, all of a sudden we're talking about Lifnei HaTzimtzum? That's what I'm getting confused.
Initially, it is in B'fnei HaTzimtzum. But then there is, as we're going to say, spheres ein ketz. But there is spheres in the Iyar Ein Sof even before the Tzimtzum.
The spheres in the Iyar Ein Sof even before the Tzimtzum.
Right.
But there's a distinction, or is there not, between Ayin Sof, Lifnei Tzimtzum, and Atzmus? Or this is the same thing?
It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing.
Yeah.
No. To understand this, we spoke many times that Etzem emanates Oyr. That Oyr that Etzem emanates is an Oyr Atzmi. It's an Oyr reflective of the Etzem. Like we gave in our examples, that if you own a home, and a human being in home ownership is a kind of an etzem aspect. It is not definable by its function, but it is that him, the human being, and ownership of a home is so to speak, is a fundamental reality. This is what's granted to a human being by virtue of his definition of his creation, of what he is. He has the right to be in this world, and therefore he owns a home. His right to be in this world is not just a right to benefit from the world, but he owns the world, and he has actually duties towards the world. We discussed this many times. So this Indian, so then when a person owns a home and he enters the home and he occupies the entire home, which is the Oyr Etzem of the person. How does he occupy? His presence is felt everywhere. It's not tangibly felt, but it is there. I believe that we understand this. Do I need any more explanation of this? Is this clear to everyone? This is a very subtle concept, but we have to, so to speak, rise up to the principle that we are unique creatures. We are not animals. We are creations mandated by God to be here and to have our effect.
When we're talking about Gilad Musay, and you use the term at one point, self-awareness, we're talking about this occurring within the Ayin Sof, not within Atzmus itself.
Right.
Is that?
Yeah, but the Ayin Sof is within Atzmus.
Yeah. Okay, but it's not Etzem. It's not Atzmus Mamish.
No. Etzem emanates Oyr. Yeah.
Let me ask the question this way: does it make any difference at any point if we understand whether we're talking about Lifnei Tzimtzum or Achar Tzimtzum? Because that's what confuses me, the shifting back and forth. Does that matter? Should I be concerned about that?
You should not be concerned about that, but it does matter. And as we go through, it will become clear. Right now, we're talking about the spheres as a bipshitus. And the reason there is spheres bipshitus is due to the fact that we're talking about the Gilui element in the Oyr. Gilui element automatically implies spheres.
Okay.
But this Gilui, there's Beis Behagil. There are two modes in this Gilui. Behakor be'atzmusay. Within the Atzem, why the Oyr is still in be'atzmusay? There's already two modes of the Gilui within the Oyr. Im she'agilui hu b'bchinas bli gvul. One is, if the Gilul is b'bchinas bli gvul, is in a bli gvul manner. It speaks of bli gvul. Shegam beGilul zeh sfiros. Within this Gilul also there are sfiros. It has not the Gili has not been confined, has not been limited not to express anything specific. It's just the Gili of the Etzem, Rak, and to their two other spheres. If it's Gili, there is spheres. Rak, except Shehein Bebchina spheres Ein Ketz. Now these spheres are in a Bechina of spheres Ein Ketz. When you say spheres Ein Ketz, clearly the spheres do not have a focus, an intent to express anything specific. It is part of the Gili of the oil itself, and in this Gili there are spheres Ein Ketz. The spheres are a defining element of the Gili itself.
Rabbi.
Yeah.
Sorry for this, might be sounding a bit megushim to think this way, but when we say Ein Ketz, does that mean like we're saying there were infinite Gvulim in that context? Like there were infinite, or is it expressing something different?
Wait a little while until you'll get a sense of what we're talking about. What does Gili mean? So we said this is something very interesting and very illustrative of the point. We said that there is Brum Shebeyabosha and there is Brum Shebeyam. Everyone senses the difference, and he can actually delve into it and be misboinen in this difference. Brum Shebeyabosha and Brum Shebeyam. They are both receiving chayus on a constant basis, because chayus must be uninterrupted. And where are they receiving chayus? They're receiving chayus from Ayin Seif, from the source of chayus. And this relationship is uninterrupted. But then there's a difference how the Yom Shebeyabosha received that chayus and the Yom Shebeyam received that chayus. The Brum Shebeyam received this chayus unconsciously, without being aware that they're receiving chayus. They're part and parcel of the yam, of the source of chayus for them, and just as in the water there is chayus for them, so too they have it chayus. There is not a transfer from the source into the created. Brum Shebeyabosha are very different. We discussed this very many times, and it's really a phenomenal concept. Brum Shebeyabosha also have to have an infusion of chayas constantly, smoothly, unawares, in the sense that I don't have chayas and now I have chayas. I have chayas all the time. But not I have chayas all the time because I'm connected to the source of the chayas. I'm part of the chayas. No. Source of the chayas is imbuing chayas to me all the time. This is Brum Shebeyabosha. It's a very unique type of creation. To get a handle on this, which we discussed, I just want to. The human being has to breathe in and out. Breathing in and out means taking in chayas and breathing out the chayas, and clearing and preparing for the next breath. Each breath is an infusion of chayas. So he is conscious that chayas is being infused in him. But he's not conscious that between the breaths he doesn't have chayas. He always has chayas. And the reason for that, how is it that there is an in and out, and yet he doesn't sense that there is an interruption? What enables this continuous sense of chayas is the fact that the chayas is infused in the human being not by his solicitation, but by its being given to him milmayr. And milmayr, there is chayas all the time. So in his, if I may say so, in his mentality, does he ever lack chayas? Why not? He has a limited amount. Because he is connected, he is constantly being maintained, infused chayas from the source of chayas. Not only is being given from the source of chayas when he asks for it, without asking for it. He has it. This is a phenomenal Indian. They're aware of something that there is no cause to be aware of. The physical cause for being aware of is that I'm lacking something. The are aware of that, of the fact that I'm not lacking. And they're aware of this thing I'm not lacking. Because it's being provided by a source which has no such thing as lacking. Interesting, isn't it?
They're aware that they're not lacking.
They are lacking, but they're aware that they're not lacking because they're connected to the source, which the source is more interested for them to have it than they are interested. They don't even feel that they need it, but the Creator knows that they need it.
Is that like saying their first sense is that they do lack, and then it's overcome by the sense of, oh, look at this, we're not lacking? Is that? I'm just trying to think of what this awareness and the concept.
Okay, so think about it. Think. Are you aware that you're lacking a life? Any moment? So how come? It is coming in and out.
But there is never a moment there's no life, even if it's coming in and out.
How come?
Yeah, we reviewed this morning, and this was kind of interesting, right? The fish is within its source. The Shabbat is not within the source, so he's aware. He gets life continuously, but he's aware of it. And then it was pointed out this was on Friday. There's no yes and no. There's no fear factor.
This calls directly to our koyach hachochma. There's no way that you can explain it on the Bina level except by first referring to chochma. Chochma is capable of seeing the reality itself. A simple illustration, a simple moshel for this. The Gemara says, this is the halacha, that an oni hamhalach mokim l'mokim, an oni and only the poor that are constantly moving around from one village to another village, and in each village there is a Zokya Cooper that supplies their need, they immediately need. The Zokya Cooper is obligated to give to the Oni the meal that he spends in this village. But then before he leaves, the halacha is that you have to give him pas pesali. You have to give him another slice of bread. That he should have it with him in his satchel as he's journeying to the next village. This extra slice of bread is not so that he will eat this when he arrives to the other village. Because when he arrives to the other village will supply him with his meal at that time. And they have this obligation to give him a meal when he spends time in their village. So what's the point of this extra piece of bread in his satchel as he's journeying? When he will need it, he will have it from the place where he's going to be. And yet that's a halach.
Well, he might get stuck in a storm by night.
No such case. No such possibilities. Give an example. Okay. If there is that possibility, then you have to give him food that he should, even if he gets stuck, he has to give him two, 3 pieces of bread if the storm is going to stop, prevent him from going. And then if the storm is in an opening, he should stay in town. Where is he going? Wait until the danger is over.
I'm talking about the storm happening while he travels.
I'm talking about storm if there is a possibility, depending on the time of the year. If this is a time where the roads could be prevented from travel, then you should stay in put. When over this is not the concern. Huh?
It reflects on the initial giving when they present the sin. That's a kulim shechas that to connect with him to give this chayes, to give him the food, and therefore even when he leaves, they have to give the food.
Yeah, but what does he gain out of this?
As it reflects on the initial giving.
He gains that he doesn't have a sense of lack. He's got one in the bag.
Now he's connecting to them still, isn't it? It's not when he leaves, he's separate from them.
Who the phone? Yeah, why is he even calling my phone? We're on the conference. Yes, go ahead.
I'm not. When does he eat this extra piece of bread?
If he comes to the next town, and he still has the bread, and they have bread, he will eat that piece of bread, and you will tell him, I don't need it right now for this meal. I need it for this meal. I don't need it.
I see. Thank you.
So, again, this is a very sensitive issue, and the way the Gemara expresses it is Ein Adema. You can compare Mishi Yeshwe Pas Besaloi, Mishi Ein Pas Besaloi. What's the difference? He's anticipating to have the food over there. So what's the difference between Yeshwe Pas Besaloi and Ein Pas Besaloi? This is, so to speak, a focused question on the physical arena. So we should be able to really delve into this and see what is the difference. The Gemara doesn't even explain further. It's not comparable. Mishi Yashli Pas Basali, Mishi Ein Pas Basali. Although he's not going to eat it now. Mealtime is twice a day. He's not a muncher. He's not going to eat all the time. He's going to travel and then reach mealtime. That's what he's going to eat. So what does this pas b'salin do for him? I'm giving a half a minute for reflection. But there's no point of me saying it if you don't reflect and try to see where the difficulty is. Which food is he going to eat?
Is this rhetorical, or you're asking us?
What?
Are you asking us, or is this like rhetorical?
Well, it's rhetorical in terms. I don't expect everybody to speak up. It's but I'm asking you to reflect on it.
Okay, so
Right.
it seems like this is done this way to reflect the reality that life is continuous, and so you should have that sense of abundance.
One second.
But
Finish Adop. How is life continuous? It does end. It can be replenished.
Right, once we're in a state of life, like we said, it's a continuous connection, it's smooth, there is no interruption, it's not piecemeal.
Put the finger on the head. Why is it continuous? How is it
From an
continuous?
infinite source. And right, and you're continuously connected to that source, right?
In other words, how did life come to us to begin with? When the Rebbe made our bodies, did these bodies come to life because they are so well structured and boom, they start to live?
Yeah. Well, we say he breathed life into the
He
body.
breathed life into the body.
Right. Earlier today it seemed like we said you have a sense of lacking and then that's overcome. But now it seems like the real human perspective is no lacking. That you do have, and that's what you do have, this continuous life.
Okay. You've taken something out of context.
Okay.
Let me finish. Yes.
Yeah, no, I don't want to be defensive, but what I originally, it was similar to what was just said, but even more than that, that by definition, the highest from the Eibishter is Ein Sof. And that's what I meant by saying that it's reflection on the initial highest which the city gave them, that this thing is a constant, because by definition, highest from the Ein Sof is a constant. So it's reflection what the city gave them. It's not limited just to the city. That's why they have their highest to give it to him. They have that highest.
Yeah.
It reflects on the initial giving.
Okay. But here is the Nkuda that I thought that somebody else was hitting. I thank you. And the Nkuda is that Chayus is something that is being given. Chayus is not something that you can stash away and have in your pocket.
And it's not only given, but there's an awareness of it being received.
Because it's being given, this is why, this is where awareness comes in.
The fish too are given, but they're not aware.
That's right. But by a human being, he is aware because it's being given in dosages.
Uh-huh. And that makes one think that it's like as if he's lacking and now he gets.
Okay, but he doesn't feel the lack. Why not? Here's the crux. Why doesn't he feel the lack? Follow this. Because when he has it, he consciously knows that he has it not because he has it, but because it was given to him. but because there is a source of life. When he has it, it is not what he has that gives him the satisfaction, but the fact as to where it came from. I don't want to go into all the ramifications because it's not the first time we made this point. So there we have the union like this. It comes into being Gilui. But this Gilui is something which is initiated not by a request, by saying, oh, listen, I need a breath of fresh air, give me a breath of fresh air. This Gilui is initiated from the source of the Gilui. But it is initiated in a manner that is given to you in dosages. So that you be aware that you get it, you get this highness. Not like the fish who do not get it by dosage. They get the whole source resource directly. They are inside their source of life. That's why. So this is the pshat that there is.
I thought we were being aware because of our cycle, because the dosages we don't feel it. It's also counseling for us.
The seichel is the one who is aware, and the reason it's aware is because the chayes comes to us in dosages. Otherwise, it wouldn't be aware.
But we don't know that it comes in dosages. I mean, because we
are breathing. We are breathing, so we know that there is a breath of fresh air. There's a source.
To say it's not us, it's that we're getting it. It doesn't have to be in dosages. It's air. We're getting air.
Yeah, but the fish also get air. But the fish get the air as it is in the source. There is no separation between the giver and the recipient. Whereas by us there is a separation given to the recipient. We receive what we are able to handle at the moment. Even if you give him a possible salad, you give him a piece of slice of bread, you give him a slice of bread. One meal. You don't give him a ton of bread. I hope you're not losing what we are dealing with. So this is what Gilui. Gilui means there's an expression as to what is being done. It is not just the way the reality is. Fish to receive their chai is not through a Gilui, not through an active force coming from the water. Human beings receive their chai by an active force of the air. Okay?
Fish take their chayas by... How do fish get their chayas?
They're inside the chayas, they're inside the water.
There's no effect of the water...
Water does not actively force itself upon them. They're in there.
How is the water different from the air?
What?
How is the water different from air? It's their atmosphere. As a matter of fact, they have to make more
No. Don't fly away. Don't fly away. You have to think. The atmosphere is outside of us.
also in us.
No,
At all
in us is
times.
just a little bit that comes in.
It's here in our bones. We're born with it.
Shmuel, you're not thinking right now. No, you're not. You're talking about breathing now. This is chayes. Breathing is something which occurs on an in and out basis. Finished. We don't have the full air that's outside inside us. We have just a little trickle that trickles in, and we take it in piecemeal.
Almost like food.
Huh?
Almost like food.
Almost like food. The only difference is that in food, we actually wait until we're hungry, and then we solicit the food. Whereas here, doesn't work that way.
So how is the water?
Shmuel, please. You have to think.
I am thinking.
No, you're not. You ask yourself, how is the water different?
It's an atmosphere.
It's not an
It's a
atmosphere.
thicker
It's not atmosphere. I've said many times. The fish are not in
The
atmosphere.
fish have to filter the oxygen.
No,
out of their
Shmuel, you're not thinking. How do human beings stand? Does the air hold him up?
What?
Does human being held up by the air when he stands?
So what?
No, I'm asking you. So what? How does a fish stand?
Fish floats.
How do they stand? Answer the question. They're held up by the water.
Okay.
So they don't have a sense of holding themselves up. As if it's the first time I said it.
Are they, okay,
No, that's it.
In that sense, there's a difference. But
No, in every sense, in this sense
Life
makes
force?
it. Okay, small enough. You have to learn to think, break through your barriers over there. You have to think the way it's being presented. So what is being said to me? Let me see if I can understand it. Not the way I'm used to thinking. It makes sense from that direction. It doesn't work. All right.
because I can't do anything. I can't function with going on the premises that
You don't have to do anything. Who asked you to do anything? Just try to understand what's being said. You don't need to do anything. If the gili is bivchinas b'ligvul, what is bivchinas b'ligvul? What is b'ligvul? B'ligvul means that there is not a moment where you can identify where it is or where it is not in b'ligvul. And yet it's a gili. This is a phenomenal thing. It's a constant. It's everywhere. B'ligvul, and yet it's a gili. A gili means it is an expression. Expression means that there is a yes expression, no expression. The gili is b'chinas b'ligvul. Shagam b'gili zed less like. Shagam b'gili zed yesh spheres. When in this gili too there is spheres. Rag, except shehei b'chinas spheres enketz. They're spheres, but they are b'chinas spheres. And spheres themselves are in that b'china, and that type of a presentation that they're enketz. I don't want to go into an area that we'll never be able to extricate ourselves from, but it's a useful mode, a useful view. So I'm going to say it, and hopefully people understand to so to speak, to utilize it. How many stars are there? Nobody knows it. My question is something else. Is it a proper question how many stars there are? Is it a meaningful question? Does it make sense to ask a question? Okay, and I see that we sensed what this is about. Because the stars were created along with the reality of the world itself. Wherever there is world, there is stars. Do we have a concern that if we walk, we're going to walk out of the world? We fly in a jet ourselves out of the world. Although our orientation is within our world, because the world represents a godly creation. It doesn't represent itself. It represents the godly presence, the godly creation. And therefore there's bli gvul, and therefore there's tefillas bli gvul. All right, this is just a means to think about tefillas angels. So this is one way that the gilu is bli gvul. The gilu is bli gvul. This is a phenomenal statement. And in that gilu there is, in this gilu also there are spheres, except that the spheres are bli gvul, are ankets. Because to capture bli gvul into spheres, there has to be anket spheres. And I said, here we have to recognize the koyach hachochma that we have. What is the difference between chochma and bina? Bina is how we grasp something. Shmuel, I want you to listen to this. Bina is how we grasp something. Chochma is how the thing is in itself. And we were granted such a quality, such a fine koyach, such amazing, that we should be able to see things the way they are, in their own reality. Doesn't have to make sense to us. So we can speak of Gilui Bli Gvul, and we can speak of Spheres Enkets, and we don't know what it is. But nonetheless, it's a meaningful statement.
You're finished, I'm not.
Tzad Chochma.
Tzad Chochma.
We don't have, the Rebbe has one. We don't.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We do. The only problem is that we used to think otherwise, and we're saying that what we see is not true. Yeah, we do see it.
What we see
Throw Darwin out of your stomach. Yes, we do. With every breath we see, we do. Even your sense of being a human being is bli gvul. Not like the idiots convinced you.
One has nothing to do with the other. Especially talking about Buli and talking about
Everything is real. Well, yes.
Even that we are aware that we're human beings is true believable. And they explain that.
There's no traffic.
Can somebody repeat what we spoke about yesterday by Fabanian?
Yeah, we reviewed it a little bit this morning. What did we say?
That's for you.
No. Oh, you were there too, right? What did?
I didn't hear the whole.
No, okay.
But some points we reviewed this morning. What were they?
Well, if we were going to speak about Fabringan yesterday, I wanted to touch a point that...
No. Something pertinent to what we're discussing now. I don't...
It's about the mashal of the presence of the host when, I mean, the host serves a meal to the guest and the host disappears and goes away. That's
yesterday I brought out something different. I brought something different. I said it's an interesting thing. If you give a human being all his physical needs,
sure, the prison of the capsule. Speaking about this.
all his physical needs, but he lives in a prison, or more extreme, you fly him off to Mars. Provide him with everything somebody else. What about a minya? What about a minya mit der Sekretärin mit allen Sachen on Mars? Will he then be able to orient himself and feel comfortable with himself?
No.
He's got everything he needs. Why not?
He has television, yes.
Yes, why not? Think about this. Why not?
It's lacking everything.
What's meant like everything?
Just connect.
Give him everything. Name it, and you have it.
It's not a human being. It's not.
Good. So, what is lacking? Please understand, this is so significant.
Yeah, they don't do that.
Huh?
Awareness that's coming from the Abishna?
Yes. Here, we know how we got here. God created the world and created the world for us to be here. We are what God designed for us to be. So this is a reality. It's a godly reality.
What about in prison? He also knows.
No, in prison, we are not given the opportunity to orient ourselves, to relate to the entire world. We're not in the reality. Prison is we don't realize how painful prison is. It's unreal.
Rabbi, the guy living on Mars with the mini, that's a good description of Crown Heights. Isolated from the world.
Shmuel, we don't need Darwinian teaching over here. We know it too much already. So it's an interesting thing. On Earth, this is a godly reality, and therefore I feel comfortable. Whatever it is I'm lacking, I'm hungry, but I'm still a real person. I go elsewhere, and I have everything I need, but I'm not for real.
The word godly reality, up and the Mars, everywhere is godly reality. Godly reality means from
Godly reality means my presence here is a godly reality. Of course, the area is, but my presence, I belong here. Like I said, if you come to a chasana, it's real food, but you weren't invited, so if you feel uncomfortable.
So you said something else. He said that you're not aware, And then Mars, you're not aware of the giver.
What?
Reuven said that
Okay, I'm saying, what's meant you're not aware? Because you don't belong there.
he's not invited there.
Yeah. It wasn't planned for you to be there.
It seems like also on Earth you can lose track of how you're invited.
Oh, no kidding.
You think you get
Ask Shmuel,
bread
he'll tell
from-
you.
Get your bread from the baker or
No
that,
kidding.
right?
Of course you can lose it. That's
Yeah.
what the Chassidus is about. You shouldn't lose it. And if you lost it, Chas v'sholom, you have to labor to regain it.
How does Chassidus bring it back?
What?
How does Chassidus bring it back?
Chassidus bring it back because Chassidus makes you aware that all there is, that the godly source is what makes it, what gives it reality. Not for that, there is no reality. So therefore it could be a Gilui Bli Gvul, and in this Gilui is also Spheres. Rak, except Shein Bivchina Spheres and Cats. This is, look how the Rebbe carefully puts it. Except, yes, of Spheres. Except, which means this is not the normal concept of Spheres. You have to qualify this. Because
What is the literal translation of Einketz? Actually, spheres Einketz.
And Einketz means without a number.
Without a number?
Yeah, without an end. An
Without
end.
Without a limit?
Gvul is a limit. Ketz is not. Ketz is an end. In Gvulim you count
That means
1, 2, 3, and you don't finish counting.
So actually, it's no beginning, no end.
No beginning. That's right. In no beginning, because it comes from Ein Sof, and therefore there's no end. But there's spheres in it. But there's spheres. But Rak, I'm calling your attention to how the Rebbe is expressing it, because that's very important. Because the very expressing itself is a statement that I'm going to say to you something is not perfect, it's not normal. There are spheres. However, only Shehein B'china spheres and kept there is B'china of spheres. It's another kind of B'china sphere. It's another kind of sphere concept. It's a sphere concept of spheres and cats. Spheres that are focused to accomplish something is a different kind of sphere. These spheres do not have that focus. It's a different bechira, it's a different definition of spheres. Bechina spheres and cats. So I challenge anybody to say that we can relate to this without thinking of God. Because you asked me how does Chassidus bring God. So this is one that the Gilui is Bli Gvul.
So Einketz is before Tzimtzum.
Because it's Bli Gvul, therefore the spheres and cats. The oil is Bli Gvul, and therefore the spheres in it are Einketz. Endless.
Before Tzimtzum.
Huh?
Before the Tzimtzum.
Yes, one Tzimtzum. Hakol B'Atzmus. Or, okay, now we are crossing the bridge. On the next page. Or, Shehagilui hu lehoyer bigvul. Or that the Gilui in that source, that original source, in the oil inside, there is a yin from Gilui. And in this Gilui is for the purpose. The Gilui consists of Lahoyer Bigvul, to express and to be Meir Bigvul in a Gvul, in a finite and a definitive manner. There it's a different kind of a Gilui. It's a Gilui to express something that can be defined. Shebegilui zeh, where in this Gilui Hasfiros hein bebchinas eses Sfiros. Here the Sfiros are bebchinas eses Sfiros, not Sfiros Einkets. They are Sfiros and eses Sfiros. In this Gilui, the Sfiros are bebchinas eses Sfiros. What is the principle of eses Sfiros? In contrast of Sfiros Einkets, so I'm going to say it the way it is in Sfiros, and then we'll see if we need another paraphrasing, a moshel to this. Sfiros Einkets are telling you what the Gila is. Eses Sfiros are to formulate a message outside, so that it will be understood outside. What is Eses Sfiros? Eses Sfiros is the structure of Seichel, from Chochmah and to Bina and Das, until it comes to Malchus. This is Eses Sfiros.
This God of yours is too big. Well, the Sfiros Einkets, there. It seemed like, I mean, I'm just trying to think of
This
what.
guy is not scared. He gets hit over the head and he's asking for some more. Yes.
I mean, if it's Einkets, like, how's it a sphere, basically? You know, if you have a unit has a definition. We have at least here it's like.
That's what I'm saying.
So
And this is what we said. Spheres Einkets are spheres that are there not by the solicitation, by what they are to accomplish, but what they represent.
Why not just Giluyim or?
No, one second. We have to go back because we went through this in a different thing. Please, we said something very, very simple. In our scientific way of expressing space, we say that there is 2 dimensions and there are 3 dimensions. 2-dimensional is just a flat surface. 3-dimensional is the real thing. 3-dimensional. Then we said 3-dimensional is just a skeleton. It's not a real presence.
Really?
Nothing is in 3-dimensional.
Really, it's 6.
Huh?
Really, there's 6.
The real presence is in 6 dimensions.
And then we said even they're infinite.
It's 6 dimensions, not 3 dimensions. What's the difference whether you speak something in 6 dimensions or 3 dimensions?
6 is closer to the thing itself.
3 dimensions is how you observe it, and how you would define it. 3 dimensions are the thing is unto itself. Nothing exists on 3 dimensions. In itself, it's in 6 dimensions. Something that's real, it occupies space, is 6 dimensions.
In fact, it's even more than 6. Unto itself, it seems like it has infinite facets.
Okay. Let's leave it at that. That's right. This is where you can say that the Sfiros Einkets are there. But so this is. There is this Gilui. There is no Eses Sfiros. 3-dimension is like a form of expression of what this looks like and how big it is. This is like Eses Sfiros. But if you want to express it externally, that's why you have Eses Sfiros. This is how you're going to give the concept and then develop it. Whereas internal to itself, it is a completely different reality. There are no dimensions. There is just the reality itself. Okay. Bekanal Perik Yuzayim. And as we said before, that the SS Filis, this is where the Oyr is Lehoyer Bigvul. It's for the purpose of expressing something Bigvul in a finite mode. We have to finish this next line, at least start. However, being that they are in a Dveikus mode, they too are connected to the Ayin Soif, which means they're not separate entities, but they're actually flowing directly from the Ayin Soif. The fact that there are spheres, is only because of the Gilui aspect. It's not the reality itself. It is the Gilui element in this Oyr that brings that contains and affects it, the spheres element. The spheres do not constitute the Oyr. The spheres is only the Gilui element. Al Kain, therefore, has a spheres hengam kein b'chinas pshitos. Therefore, the SS spheres are also b'chinas pshitos, even though it's SS spheres. And SS spheres are already, so to speak, geared and focused to a Ayin von Gvul. But, despite the fact that they focus on Ayin von Gvul, they are dovuk b'Ayin Soif. The Bechinas Dveikus of the Ayin Soif. So, obviously we don't have the time to get into this, but all the things that we discussed today should give us a means to relate to these words. The Bechinas Dveikus being so, even though it's a Gvul. Starting from the yeah.
Ask a question before we finish?
The first beginning, go ahead. Yes, brother.
Okay. First beginning. Okay. So even now, when we're talking about the spheres, and we said the reason they're Esser is that they're already looking outside, basically. Because you can't communicate anything outside. With any spheres, you can't communicate anything.
Right.
So it's really anticipating going outside.
Right.
But this is happening b'atzmusay.
That's right.
So this is like a beginning of a contemplation b'atzmus of projection outside.
Right.
The outside begins in atzmus.
Okay, Baruch, you're okay so far. Stop right there.
Stop while you're ahead.
Stop right there. Okay, got it.
They b'chinas dveikus. What is b'chinas dveikus? So I said, all the things that we discussed today, if we were apparent and we sensed the significance of it, we can understand b'chinas dveikus. Even in the simple thing of the pas b'salih. Pas b'salih, the piece of bread in the satchel. What does piece of bread in the satchel tell you? You once put it in this way. The concept that there is more where this came from is very important. Even though all you have is just one slice of bread. This slice of bread didn't come accidentally. It was given. And this sense of giving and concern is real. It is double in the source, in the mokir. One more word on this, which is significant. The reason that we give them the extra piece of bread in his satchel. It's not because we are such kind people. Of course, you have to be kind to do it, but because it's a mitzvah in the Torah. If this oni should be relying on human concerns, I don't know what kind of human being I'm going to meet up with. But the kuppah, the tzedakah kuppah in every community is not based on human concerns. It's based on the mitzvah and the Torah. Rambam says, "Le'ro yisiv, le'ro yinu l'shamayno." We never heard of such a community where there is not a tzedakah source. This is a primary obligation of every community. Jewish community that bases itself on Torah and mitzvahs. This is the source. This is the real source. And this is what the Oni is affected by. Because if he has a slice of bread in his statue, so what's the big deal? He has a slice of bread. A slice of bread represents, as you said before, that there is a command from the Meibushin that this should be there. This gives him a connection to the Ein Sof. And by virtue of this, as he's walking to the next village, what is he going to find in the next village? I don't know. Here you're with nice people, maybe over there are different people. No. Whatever he's going to come, he's going to have the same thing. This is what gives him the sense, the peace of mind. All right, this is it for this morning.
Yeah.